So now another aspect to all of this is a couple of guys are doing their second pro days. And that's Justin Fields, who's doing his on the 14th, I believe. And then Trey Lance, who's doing his on the 21st.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's the 19th.
19th? Now, this is my thing. I mean, with the 14th, it's still kind of cutting it close, I believe, because now, like, teams are finalizing their boards. And I really feel like as of right now, they pretty much know who they want. There might be a chance where, say, the 49ers are leaning in a different direction than Justin Fields, and they see it in person, and they're just like, ooh, I don't know. Like, we got to really evaluate this, and let's look at this through a different lens, because that can happen, right? So let's say CeeDee Lamb last year. I had this perception of CeeDee Lamb. I had watched games of him, and then there was just something I saw that made me go back in and watch CeeDee Lamb through a different lens. And that catapulted me I went from like, is this dude a first round pick? Like, just watching the way he plays and stuff. Because you guys know I don't watch highlights when I do my evaluation. So if you watch highlights, I'm pretty sure he looked like crazy sweet. But I was just watching him, I'm like, I don't know if this dude's even a first round pick. And then I went back and I had to watch it through a different set of lenses. And I was like, he's wide receiver 1, right? So your opinion on someone can definitely change. And you don't know exactly, what that might be that you can see that can kind of change your opinion, right? Or get you to view something through a different lens. Seeing something in person is always sweeter than like watching it through a TV. Like, you can watch through a TV and you can get your idea of what it looks like and what it feels like and whatnot. But when you're in person and you see Fields and you see his body and what it looks like and the speed and the arm strength and how it just comes off of his hand and his personality and the swagger and the confidence, when you see that up close, if they're not all the way in on him, or if he's maybe not 100% the guy, but then you go to the pro day on the 14th and you see that in person, I think that is something that could possibly change your mind, right? Remember a few years back, Kyle Shanahan went to Patrick Mahomes' pro day as a smokescreen. And he said when he saw Mahomes, he immediately called Kyle and was like, I know we're not in the market for a quarterback, and I'm here as a smokescreen. We're going to get Cousins, but I'm telling this dude, Mahomes, I just saw something crazy, right? Like, I just saw something. And sometimes that's what it takes to maybe change your mind. So I know there's a lot of people that think, hey, these pro days don't matter and whatnot. I'll say this. I had several NFL workouts, private workouts. It's just me and everybody from the front office watching me. And you get signed off of running around in T-shirt and shorts. So they watch all my film. They didn't sign me off my film or solely because of my film. They had to see me in person and see how I move and coach me up and see my personality and everything in person. Sometimes when you get in a position like this, where you're probably splitting hairs on who your top guy is or who you're most comfortable with, but there is a chance, in my opinion, that you can watch Justin Fields. If he's not your guy, he might just be their guy. But if he's not your guy, but you see him in person and you see how that ball comes off of his hands and you see the power and you see the charisma and you get to meet him and all that and you see the personality, that could make somebody say, let me go back and look at his film one more time. And then now some of the things that you're nitpicking at, maybe you're like, you know what? I think we can fix that. Right? But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, to me, and I said it on our podcast a little bit ago, it's like Daniel Jeremiah, who we both like a lot, who's spent a lot of time in the league as far as being a scout for NFL teams, might end up being a GM one day. He's just a super sharp guy, and I really respect everything he says. Now, he thinks the 49ers are going to take Mac Jones, but we already talked about that. But he said, look, if pro days were worthless, an NFL team would not go. They wouldn't waste their time with something, or at the very least, no one important would ever go to them. Head coaches and GMs would never go because it's just their time is so valuable. They have so much stuff to do, especially right now. They wouldn't go to pro days if they were worthless. So there's that. One thing you got to understand: NFL teams are attending them, and they got other shit to do. So the fact that they're there
right.
should tell you that they're not worthless. All right. And then there's the fact that a lot of people don't take into account that they're like, oh, it's a pro day, it's scripted, it's on air. And I'm like, yeah, you're in a big ass warehouse or an empty field where you can hear a pin drop And the only people watching you are high-level NFL scouts, NFL head coaches, and NFL GMs. And
Right.
like there's probably more pressure at a pro day than there is in any game that Justin Fields has ever played in. I'm talking even the national championship, he probably felt more relaxed and more kind of in tune with what he does than he would at like a pro day. And NFL teams, they want to see how you handle that shit. And they want to see what what your demeanor is like with all of them watching you. And it's like it's not as easy as people kind of act like it is.
It's not. And again, I've been in that situation. So just kind of to let everybody know, like kind of my process again to the NFL and signing with the New York Jets. When my first workout was with the New Orleans Saints, they flew me in. Now there was one other guy working out with me, Chad Jones, I believe his name is. If you remember back, this is like 2010, maybe when this guy was coming out, 2011, a safety from LSU got drafted pretty high to the New York Giants, got in that big car accident, and his career was over.
Really?
Well, me and him, a couple years later, he was back and healthy, and we had our workout the same day with the Saints. So that one wasn't too crazy. There was like maybe 15 people from the Saints front office. It was just me and him. We're working out. All eyes are on us. Now, my next workout, the Philadelphia Eagles flew me in, and it was just me and maybe 70 people from their front office. And again, there's no music, there's no anything. It's 70 dudes, all eyeballs on Eric Crocker, watching every single step of Eric Crocker with their notebooks like this and just ready to, any move, every step, writing something down. You don't know nerves and until you get in that type of situation. So even someone like Justin Fields, who is, he's kind of been at the top of his class and everything since he was a kid, but that situation, like, he's been in big time situations, played in the national championship game, played in multiple big playoff games. He never lost a Big Ten game. That's crazy, right? But so he's kind of had pressure and everything. But even then, knowing that so much money is like on every single throw, and everybody handles it different. How did Mac Jones handle it when he first came out, right? He was overthrowing guys and all that. In the first workout, which nobody really made a big deal of, he was missing throws in that one. Like we talk about the nerves and how you're going to handle it and everything and the pressure. We didn't see. I mean, did Fields miss anything that whole workout? Like I don't even know if he missed. So when you're talking about just nerves and pressure, like people make it seem like those pro days don't matter, and maybe it doesn't matter in the sense of you're probably going in there knowing what you're going to get or how this guy's going to make you feel. But I do think that there is something about seeing how somebody handles that.
Oh yeah.
And from Fields, it just looked like, bro, this is just a walk in the park for me. Let me throw this out.
No, he looked good. He looked comfortable. He was moving well. And I do think that, like you're saying, if a team truly is split, or even Kyle Shanahan himself is like, man, I could go Trey Lance or Mac Jones, and I go back and forth daily. Every night I get on, I watch film on both of these guys, and I go back and forth with myself. Something that he sees at a pro day in person could be what makes the decision for him. If he likes them both a lot. So It's not, like I said, I go back to it's not worthless. Otherwise they wouldn't go. And normally there would be some element of smoke screening and stuff going on, but they're at 3. They want to see everybody that they're going to, that's going to be in the running at 3. And I do think it definitely matters at this point, especially, I mean, if you've never like, especially with quarterbacks, if you've never like watched one live up close, like you can just straight up hear the ball fly through the air.
You can hear it ripping. You can hear them rip it.
You'll hear it leave their hand. It'll have like a little pop. You'll hear it hit the receiver's hands. You'll hear it flying through the air because they have, these high level guys have such insane arm strength. They could probably pitch a baseball 90 miles an hour. You know what I mean? Like being able to hear that stuff just all gives you, especially from a coach's perspective that watches these games from the field constantly, it's all relative to what they do on a daily basis. If Kyle Shanahan's been watching Jimmy Garoppolo up close for the past 2 to 3 years, and then he goes and watches Justin Fields, and he's like blown away a little bit. And I say that, but at the same time, he's had his up close and personals with Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. That's the one that I keep going back to when it comes to what quarterback they might prefer. Like that dude watched Josh Allen, who's got one of the strongest arms we've seen in a long time, just dismantle their team.
Toy with them. Right.
Like a top 10 defense. Maybe the 49ers were even a top 5 defense.
They were top 5 statistically, yeah.
Just like swatted them away like nothing, like no other team did all year. We can't. It reminded me of that scene from Super Troopers where he's like, "We can't pull over. We're already pulled over. We can't pull over any farther." And it's like they were doing everything they could, and they just had no answer. You know, and to me, that's what I keep falling back to. And if Kyle Shanahan goes the direction of Mac Jones, then good on him. But to me, it would be so hard to watch a quarterback like that rip you apart, and then have a chance to get someone that could be kind of close, you know, in that realm of quarterbacking, Justin Fields or Trey Lance, and then just be like, nah, I don't want no part of that. I don't want no part of that. Give me the
flabby.
give me McCorkle, baby.